Welcome back to LDB Games. I'm Lord Darth Balls. This is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video. And in this video, I'm going to go through how I farm Dragon Stage 20. Dragon is probably one of the easiest of the four dungeons, and yet still is one of the most rewarding, with speed sets being the primary goal from farming Dragon. There are a couple good sets as well. Stalwart's pretty decent, although it's been power crept a little bit. Toxic is still very strong. Destroy has a very niche use, and Lifesteal and Accuracy are still very good. Lifesteal more in the early game and in niche content in the late game. As you progress towards the late game in Raid, Dragon becomes less as important as Fire Knight does for the Savage gear. I did a video on my Fire Knight team. I'll pin to that up top. But we've got a Dragon tournament starting. Will be live by the time this video goes up and gets released. And so I just wanted to showcase how I speed farm Dragon. You can see that first wave goes down very, very quickly. Similar style to my Fire Knight team with Seer in there, helping to get through the waves as quickly as possible. You'll notice I even have two of the free Doom Tower champions. They can be gotten through completing the secret rooms on the normal Doom Tower and collecting those fragments. And I believe they are not the earliest. It does take a little bit of time to accrue at least Dark Kael, but you can get Archmage Hellmut pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And you can see Seers in there for damage, as well as boom, Royal Guard. There's a 47-second run right there. And you can see Royal Guard and Seer doing the bulk of the damage, with Kael, Dark Kael, Bed-el, and Archmage doing some support. So let's go through this team. Obviously, the stars of the show are Seer and Royal Guard, but how do we support them, right? So I've got Bed-el in there. He's built in Reflex so that he can come back to his A2 as quickly as possible. Sometimes that happens on the second wave. And then Seer has more buffs to rip off, right? He also comes in there for his passive, doing more damage to targets under poison debuffs, allowing my Seer and my Royal Guard to just put out that much more damage. He's running fast, 223. You can see he's even got a speed set on there. Great little showcase for it. He's got enough accuracy to do the job. A little bit of resistance, not necessary. And I did give him 100% crit rate, only because he's got an extra heal on here, and it's based on the damage. Now, I didn't go for crit damage, but I figured every little bit you can get from a crit would be just a nice little bonus heal on top of the continuous heals that he has. I do have his masteries here. Went down the... here, let me move myself out of the way, actually. Went down the offense tree to War Master, but the big thing for Bed-el is the support tree for me, right? I want to extend the poisons, have a chance of extending the poisons that I cast to keep the damage amplifier up as much as possible, and to increase my poison damage. And then I've got a chance to increase the duration of any buff. So the buffs that he puts out will last longer in case Seer doesn't have her all-star ability. And then I just have a couple extra... masteries here to increase the amount of healing. That one's not applicable. It doesn't put shields out, but I wanted to get to this tree here. And a little bit of accuracy to help get his job done. Archmage, you can see I've actually got him fully awakened. That was a really cool pull for me. I've got him in Cruelty. But he's in here for his 3 buffs on his A3. When they're not being used by Seer to rip off, the speed and the crit damage are just nice to have across the board. And then when Seer's not ready, because I don't have a reset in this team, right? I'm not running a Renegade team. Well, I don't have Kaimar, but I'm not running a Renegade team here, right? So his A2 is a great way to control the waves when you're working on getting back around to your all-star abilities. His A1's pretty cool. Just fills his own turn meter. So he does, you really want him to be at 100% crit to get the extra 10% if the attack is crit, to keep him coming back to his abilities. His total stats, he's running very fast comparatively, 259 with, like I said, 100% crit rate. Didn't focus on the crit damage. I just wanted that bonus from the A1. And he's got some accuracy in there so that he can land his stuns. I don't actually have masteries on him, so it's not necessary. It would overall just help and improve, but not really a big deal. Looks like I don't have a champion out here. Yeah, so Dark Kael is also in this mix. No masteries on Dark Kael. And I bring Dark Kael in because he has a chance to instantly activate poisons and HP burns on his A1, which is really just a nice extra bit of damage. He's got the decreased attack on the A2, which is something you want to have in pretty much every team to help decrease the damage coming at you, right? Damage mitigation. And then his A3 puts out a nice little bunch of poisons and a poison sensitivity, basically allowing his poisons and bad L's, right, to do more damage to the boss. And the dragon is very susceptible to poison. And then the two all-stars of the show. I've got Royal Guard in there. He's got a 2-star Awakening with Phantom Touch for the extra damage. And he comes in for his enemy max HP ability. So he is built to do damage. Moderately fast for a nuker. It's actually pretty slow in the grand scheme of things, but I have him with 100% crit rate, 4,500 attack, and 280% crit damage to be pumping out as much as possible on that A2. His masteries, I've got him going down the offense tree as well. Looks like I need to move myself out of the way a little bit more. I went down to pick up extra damage for taking out champions, and I went for flawless execution. I tend to take this when I'm looking for consistent damage. Yes, War Master gives a higher potential output, but flawless execution is just a more consistent, higher damage. And then I did go down to the support tree. He has a decreased defense on the A1, which is actually what I use, right? That A1 is what I use to decrease defense. The dragon, you'll see it in the AI setup. So I do want a chance to extend that because his ultimate ability is the A2 at the end of the day. And unfortunately, his A3 doesn't really work on the dragon. The dragon is immune to decreased speed, so not super important. But I do want that accuracy. You can see I got 274 here to land that decreased defense on the A1. And then the all-star of the show, the best champion for clearing waves is Seer, and it's all about her A3. She strips all buffs from the map, right? Allies and enemies, and the damage increases based on the number of buffs that she strips, which is why Archmage, who puts up 3, and Bed-el, who puts up 2, are in the mix, right? To increase the amount of damage that she does. Now, I've got her in Crushing Rend. I do have a 2-star ability. And what this allows is that the first hit ignores a percentage of defense, and the levels of champions in PvE tend to be very high. So you can get, even on the first one, you'll probably get a few percentage of defense ignored, which isn't much, but as I get higher in the Awakening, it will just get more and more powerful. She does have the extra turn chance on the A1, which is helpful, since again, I'm not using a reset champion, to help her get back around to her all-star ability. And then her A2, which I don't really like using most of the time, has a weaken on it. And this is the weaken that I have for the dragon. So between her and Royal Guard, I have decreased defense and weaken, and I don't need a pure debuffer to get those there. So let's take a look at her stats. I've got her running fast, 213, 100% crit rate, 3,000 attack with 245% crit damage. Now, I do have quite a bit of accuracy here. This is more than I need. But this comes in handy in Doom Tower waves when you're dealing with a lot of like Sifis and Duchesses, and it's good to be able to rip those buffs off of them and get more damage due to it. Doesn't really come into play here. The only thing that accuracy is needed for is her A2 on the boss to land the weaken. So you maybe need 230 to 250 if you're not going to use her in other areas. But you'll notice I actually have her in Savage gear because I want that ignore defense. Really increase her damage. Haven't gotten around to putting Royal Guard in that yet. He's just in a random mess of, he's got perception, he's got speed, and he's got a little bit of broken sets here. But you'll notice 2 speed, right? Broken, 2 speed, 1 speed set, 1 speed set. Almost every champion that I'm using in the squad uses speed gear. And if I look at my accessories, and let's just put equipped on, Speed has a ton of gear that I'm using. This is one of, in my opinion, the best sets in the game because speed is king. Obviously, in PvP, the meta is changing a little bit, but speed is still super important, and going first is really how you take control of the fight. So let's look at the A. No, I don't want to summon shards. I'm saving those. So let's take a look at the AI, the setup that I got here, right? Because it is a pretty quick run, and you want to min-max that. And to do that, you need to do the A. You need to set up the AI. So I don't want Royal Guard using his A2 on the first wave. That's for Seer to take care of. And then I do want him using it on round 2, but I don't want him using it again so he can get it back for the dragon. Round 3, against the dragon, I don't want him using hamstring because it's pointless. It doesn't actually do anything except a little bit extra damage, right? The dragon is immune to both turn meter effects and decrease speed. And I want him opening with his A1 so that I can land that decreased defense early, which just increases my damage. Bed-el, I've got no presets for. I just want this guy to do his thing, right? I got him in reflex, bringing malice back as much as possible. The more poisons out, the more damage I do, both in poisons and output from my champions, which is just an awesome. I love this passive. One of my favorites. Dark Kael, I don't have any presets for him. I just want him doing his thing as well. At the boss, this little pop here will take care of a lot of the poisons that are put on, just adding extra damage, right? Forgot where I was going with that statement. And then Archmage Hellmut, the first round, I don't want him using his A2, because he actually I want him to lead with that in round 2 to control the waves so that I don't take too many hits before I can take them out. Other than that, I just want him doing his thing, right? I want him coming back to Psychic Guidance as much as possible, giving me the speed buff if Seer's not going to rip him, but give me the 3 for Seer to come in and do some work. Now, Seer, the first wave, she's going to use Karma Burn, and she's going to melt the wave on her own, so there's really no need for an AI preset here. Round 2, I don't want her using Clan Banner. This is her... AI will use this if you let it, right? But I want this saved for her first turn against the boss so that I have decreased defense and weaken up before I start coming in with all my big hits, right? So there's the AI. Pretty simple all around. I'll run the team once more, and we can see if maybe I can get a personal best. My best is, I think, 45 seconds, but on average, it's 50 to 60 seconds. So there's the 3 buffs from Archmage, 2... Boom. So there's just one guy who didn't go down completely. And I do have some type of shield set over here, just giving him an extra shield in the beginning, which is an extra buff for Seer to rip, which is nice. Right? There's his A2. Royal Guard's doing a little bit of damage here. Does she get an extra turn? No. That probably would have been Karma Burn if she did, but no big deal, right? Because it's actually not that difficult to get through. Oh, she doesn't have it yet. These waves, right? Here we are. He's stunned. So... kind of a waste of Karma Burn. Not a big deal at the end of the day, right? So there's the weaken. Got the poisons. Got the decrease. Ooh, he blocked the decreased defense. That's okay. This will probably be a slower run overall, but not going to be terribly slow. You'll see we're already at 50 seconds here. There's Karma Burn. Nice little chunk from Dark Kael's A1. Looks like I got the decreased defense up from Royal Guard. The cleanse from Bed-el is actually super clutch, and a 1.1 million hit from Royal Guard to close it out. You know, 65 seconds, not bad all around. So I guess the average would be 55 if I were to guess, right? 45 to about 65. And there it is. Pretty simple. In the early to mid game, you're going to be spending most of your energy here. Building up your speed sets, getting some good lifesteal gear, maybe getting some good toxic gear. And then as you get to the late game, you'll be moving on to Fire Knight. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you thought. Give me a comment down below. Do you use a different team? Do you got a faster team that maybe I can take advantage of and improve my speeds? Other than that, give me a like if you liked the video. Hit subscribe so you can see more from me in the future. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Enjoy your raid.